When I first envisioned Ascendant Dawn, I confidently thought of it as being a grand strategy game in the same vein as Europa Universalis, Total War, and Mount & Blade, the game Ascendant Dawn is closest to. Then I thought, is Mount & Blade even grand strategy? Or Total War for that matter? It seemed the only big games that were definitely grand strategy were Paradox titles and Civilization. The actual definition of grand strategy games was something I wasn't 100% sure on. After a quick visit to Wikipedia, I now had an authoritative source for my vague definition. While it did list Total War as an example, I would put that series as a mix of real-time tactics and grand strategy. Speaking of Total War, tactical battles were something I did want to add, however it would be feature creep and fairly unnecessary, potentially even diluting the experience. One common feature in this genre is something called Fog of War, often shortened to FOW. This is something that obscures the rest of the map and doesn't allow the player to see what is happening elsewhere. From very early on in development, I had implemented something along these lines with settlements, tribes, and herds not being visible from far away from the player. However, this still allowed the player to see all of the map, making discovery less important. To solve this, I tried covering the map with a layer of black that would slowly be uncovered as you explored. This, however, often resulted in small visual bugs and could make the map look very strange. I tried to solve this by making the covering translucent, but that just made it worse, so this turned out to be a mechanic that I just removed. Another thing I've been working on is implementing the Diplomacy tab. This is certainly considered an important aspect of grand strategy games. Diplomacy is divided into two sections, nomadic and settled. There are different options for diplomacy based on whether you are interacting with a settled faction or a nomadic tribe. The tab also shows information about the factions, such as a list of settlements. Diplomacy allows for states such as war, non-aggression pacts, or even more unusual relations, such as tributaries. As you improve a faction's attitude towards your tribe, you can enter into new forms of diplomatic relations. However, there's also the inverse of this, whereas factions or tribes can be forced into relations that don't benefit them, such as being a vassal. Religion is something I had planned to add after the game's release. However, when I was looking at the cultural tab, I realised that it was a little empty, so I decided to create some religion mechanics. Unlike the real world, religion is simple in Ascendant Dawn, at least for now. There are three types to choose from: shamanism, polytheism, and monotheism. These each give some minor benefits along with a different set of random events. Changing religion just costs some authority and requires the tribe to have high unity, though it does decrease the unity of some pops, so overall a very simple system. A final note about the user interface. I updated the font to make things look a little better and also allow percent size which weren't possible before. All these mechanics are frequently found in grand strategy games. The definition of this genre is, to some degree, murky and unclear, hence it is better to consider a game part of it if the game is similar to other grand strategy games. Ascendant Dawn is certainly similar, featuring many of the same mechanics such as resource exploitation and diplomacy. The 4X genre is also somewhere Ascendant Dawn could fit in, and to agree it is a hybrid, though it doesn't quite have the equal search which are a defining factor of 4X games. The biggest difference to traditional grand strategy games is the small scale and nomadic features, which are in contrast to the usually static systems and often quite huge scale of other games. It is best to group games based on their similarities into a genre, rather than by an exact definition. And by that logic, Ascendant Dawn is certainly grand strategy. That's it for this video. It's not a massive dev blog because I've been on a break from development, but now I'm working more on the simulation and AI side of the game, so next time there'll be a bigger, or at least more interesting dev blog.